guys, I'm back. Okay, short little disclaimer. I'm currently sick, so I'm sorry if you guys hear like a little difference in my voice. I don't know, but it can also be that I don't want to speak loud because I get a little embarrassed whenever like my family members can hear me, because when I'm outside, like in the living room, and when someone's like talking in the room, like I can always hear them from the outside, so I'm sure they can hear me from the outside too. So yeah. But today we're gonna be reading Axel's point of view, which is chapter 107, page 411. Yeah. So I don't know if, well, I saw this ending coming, but I didn't expect it to go like how it's going, Because, I mean, if you guys have read these past few chapters, like chapter, the past two chapters that I read, what's it called? Um, what's the brother? Oliver, right? Oliver or Justin? One of them two was, not reluctant, or is it reluctant? I don't know, but one of them two didn't accept the fact that Leah was dating, Axel, or is dating Axel, I should say. And they got into it with him and stuff like that, but, yeah, I don't know. And then right here we have Justin letting Leah go to Axel's house after that brawl went down or whatever. But I don't know how I feel about it, because like Leah's family is like not accepting the fact that they're both dating, and that there's like an age gap, and that Leah is like suffering from like postpartum depression. I don't know, I'm just saying. But not postpartum. Is it postpartum? Postpartum? Because it was like in the future, or not in the future, it was in the past. But I don't know. Like Axel's, and then on the other hand, we have Axel's mom. Um, she knew from the very beginning what Axel was feeling toward Leah, but we don't we don't exactly know if it was if we don't exactly know if she was talking about Leah, that Alex might have feelings toward her, um, because she didn't mention Leah's name. She didn't mention a single name. She just said, "Oh, like I can tell you have like feelings towards someone, 'cause you're like acting different or whatever." But she didn't say a name, so we don't know for sure. But yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry, I just rambled. So hopefully that wasn't like a spoiler for you guys or anything, because I'm trusting you on like getting caught to the point that I am on, which is 107, chapter 107. I don't have any tissue with me right now, so my nose is like stuffing up right now, and it's the worst. Okay. Leah hesitated, but a second later she took off running toward me and hugged me, clutching my body, killing me a little inside. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, but it was a mistake, because that only made her wait, what? Because that only made her scent envelope me. I made the biggest effort of my life when I grabbed her shoulders and pushed her away softly. This is what I'm saying. Like, oh my god. Like, ugh. I just hate it when, like, there's like an age gap romance, right? And you want to date this girl because you like her, you know? And especially in this case, you know that Axel likes Leah, which she's dating from like the past depression. And then we have one of the brothers that was not accepting the fact that they're dating, and plus that there's like a problem with Leah, you know, and it's like kind of continuous, maybe, we don't know. And then they're like, oh, you're brainwashing Leah, you're brainwashing her, because like when she was at my house or when she was in my car, she said she didn't want to go to college anymore. She wanted to stay with Axel the whole time. And then, you know, so the fact that one of the brothers was telling Axel, you're brainwashing Leah. Okay, he's brainwashing Leah, but at least he's happy. And then now, one of the brothers brainwashed Axel, you know, supposedly to make him think he doesn't like Leah, or just to just leave her alone, or to look at her as a child, which she isn't. He himself even said that Leah's a child, don't talk to her about that, or don't talk to her like that, you know? Anyways, I'm sorry, I keep pausing. What's happening? Why aren't you asking, why aren't you answering your phone? I rubbed my chin. I don't know what the fuck to say. I didn't know how to deal with that, and all I could do was avoid looking at her, concentrating on anything else on that porch. Because the idea that this was... Hold on. I'm a little out of breath. Because the idea that this would be our last memory together was so sad, and it seemed to strain everything else. Axel, why aren't you looking at me? Or why won't you look at me? Because I can't. I wanted to scream, but I knew I couldn't run away. I had tried it the way I had with other things that were too much for me. As if some part of me were determined to ignore the advice I gave everyone else. Finally, I looked up. She was so precious, angry, but full of emotions that seemed to overflow in her eyes. Trembling, but standing there before me, not stepping back, brave. Hold on. I'm sorry about that, you guys. I'm sorry, I whispered. No, no, no. I looked down. She ran her hands across my jaw and lifted it up. If there was ever a moment in my life when my heart broke, that was it. The instant when Leah slipped her fingertips over the bruises on my right cheek and my busted lip. I closed my eyes, and I fucked up again. I let her stand on tiptoe and cover my mouth with hers in a frightened, tremendous, tremulous kiss. I grunted when she squeezed me, her lips pressed into mine, her arms around my neck, her tongue with its taste of strawberry and everything she had symbolized in my life, breaking with routine, opening up to another person intense, vibrant color nights under the stars, moments we had lived in that house that would be ours alone forever. Oh my god. I feel so terrible. Leah, wait. I pushed her away slowly. Fuck. I didn't want to hurt her. I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I keep pausing, but, um, I'm sorry if, like, I don't know if you guys can hear me, so I'm sorry if you guys can't. I don't really know if you guys can hear me, so this is like an old camera. Uh, it's nothing like, like a big camera with a whole microphone and everything like that, and like a viewfinder. Like I literally, it's a digital camera. Stop looking at me like that. Stop looking at me as if this was a goodbye. Don't you love me? You told me. You told me we all live in a yellow submarine. Her voice broke and I bit my lip, holding back. Of course I love you, but this can't be. You're not being serious. She brought a hand to her mouth, and I watched her erase that kiss that we just had given each other, taken away in her fingers. Um, I come, I come close to her. Every inch that separated her body from mine was fucking torture. And when I, and when I thought how far apart we would be after that, I wanted to hold her until she begged me to stop. In another life, at another time, I would have. Listen to me, Leah. I don't want to come between you and your brother because I know you'll end up regretting it. That won't happen. I'll work it out with him. I just need time, Axel. I continued because I had no other choice but to continue. And you're young. You're going to go to college. And you need to enjoy that time without anyone tying you down, without me, without this fucked up situation. I was suffocating as I watched her eyes grow damp. Grow, live like I did in those days. Be guys, have fun, be happy, babe. I can't give you all that. Coughing makes me want to cough more. Like, it's just that little sensation that triggers whatever thing I have right here. And it just makes me cough. Ooh. Are you suggesting I go out with other people? She held my eyes, trembling, crying with the grimace of incredulity. Incredulity? And I wanted to die, because the very idea of someone else's lips touching hers, other hands holding hers. Axel, tell me you're not being serious. Tell me this is a mistake and we'll start over from zero. Come on, look at me, please. I took a step back when she tried to touch me. It was a mistake, Leah. what I wanted to say. She brought a hand to her chest. Her cheeks were coated in tears, and this time I couldn't wipe them away. I had gotten so used to holding her up when she was in pain in those months, helping her to channel it, to face it, to accept it, and now I was the source of pain. Why are you doing this? Because I love you, even if you can't understand. Don't love me like this, she shouted in rage. We looked at each other for a few seconds in silence. I'll still be here, I whispered. She laughed, amid her tears, and wiped her cheeks. If you break up with me now, you know I'll never come back. I'm sorry, I repeated and looked back. That's how things were. How they needed to be. I'd been tossing it around for days, like staring at a picture from 1,000 different angles, trying to understand every line and every shadow, and I had reached the conclusion that everything was against us, that our relationship has been pretty, idyllic, but that it wasn't real. She had modeled me. She had she had molded me. She had molded to me, to my routines, my life, my house, my way of understanding the world, and selfishly, I wanted to keep doing, and selfishly, I wanted to keep going like that because it made me happy, but there was something that didn't fit, like a puzzle piece you wedged in between two others. And even if you weren't sure for a while, you realize it doesn't belong here, and that it needs to go somewhere else. Leah came close to me before I could light another cigarette. Looking at her, it hurt. I needed her to go now, before I ended up doing something I shouldn't again, or going back to staring at my own belly button. What were all these moments? What were, what were, what were we all, what were we all these months, Axel? Lots of things. That's not the problem. The problem is all we never were. The title. We didn't just bump into each other one day at a bar. It's not like I looked at you and liked you and came over to ask for your number. We didn't go on a date. I didn't say goodbye with a kiss in front of your door to your home. We couldn't even walk down the street holding hands without thinking of anything else. We never could have all that. But I never cared. I lit a cigarette. I should have thought about how Leah was, how she wouldn't give up, would hold on to what she felt because she lived for the emotions that shook her, and they determined her world. I closed my eyes when I felt the arms embracing me from behind. Fuck. Why? Why? I couldn't take it anymore. I turned around and she let me go. She was still crying. She was still trying to understand. I thought I would try to drive the nail in deeper. What the fuck do you want? A farewell fuck? She blinked. Her eyelashes were gleaming with tears. Don't do this, Axel. I swear I won't forgive you. Believe me, I'm trying to be delicate, but you're making it hard for me. Oliver was right, she sobbed. And finally, she took a few steps back, pulling away from me. Wow. Okay. For some reason, like, it's so cute, to see somebody in like a relationship, but sometimes they like, trigger warnings. Sometimes, the boyfriend does like, uh, what's it called? Does something, that does like domestic violence to her, or like, that sounded so bad. But, uh, it's just so sad, but like, I feel like once they break up, it's the saddest, if you know what I mean. Like, you know? Yeah, whatever. You're incapable of fighting for what you love. I looked at her and clenched my teeth. I guess that means I don't really love them. I was able to see the exact instant when her heart shattered before my eyes, and I did nothing to avoid it. I stayed there, impenetrable, wanting it to be over soon, to forget the moment when Leah's eyes met mine for the last time, and I saw hatred and pain and disappointment. But I held on. I held on until she turned her back to me and hurried down the porch steps. I watched her walk up the drive as I had so many other times. But it was different because there wouldn't be more. She wouldn't come back the next morning pedaling her orange bike. There wouldn't be more mornings together or more nights of words and kisses and music. There are endpoints that you can feel in your skin. I stood there a few minutes without moving, still anchored in that instant that had vanished, and was now part of the past. Then I went inside and took a drink from the first. Then I went inside and took a drink from the. Then I went inside and took a drink from the first bottle I found. I smashed it against the sink, grabbed another, and sorry, my camera coming off, but I was right here. I smashed it against the sink, grabbed another, and followed the scent of the sea to the beach. I lay on the sand and drank and remembered and repeated to myself that this was probably the biggest mistake of my life. I didn't know when I finally returned home, but I know my heart was pounding against my rib cage, and I had to light one cigarette after another to keep my hands busy and my fingers still. Oh my god. I can't. I'm literally dying right here. Um, I'm literally dying. Like, someone